I'm Dr. Tom Mather, the tick guy from the University of Rhode Island. Take it from the tick guy, one little episode is all it takes to get a tick. Do ticks die off in the winter? I've got a story for you about that. One time, several years ago, I was being interviewed by a TV station in Baltimore. And before we went on air, just before we went on air, the newscaster said, well, what do you want to talk about? And I said, well, I know that almost everybody knows something about ticks, but what they seem to know often is just wrong enough to still leave them at risk. The details are really important when it comes to tick prevention. And he said, well, I don't understand what you mean. And I said, will you tell me two things that you know about ticks? And he said, well, I know they fall out of trees onto your head and they die in the winter. And I said, and you'd be just wrong enough to still be at risk because while you were busy, worrying about the ticks falling out of the trees onto your head, they'd be crawling up your legs. And if they died off in the winter, where would next year's ticks come from anyway? And so ticks don't really die in the winter. They become less active when it's too cold for their little legs to move. But if they died, where would next year's ticks come from? And you can be sure that there will be next year's ticks.